Howdy, friends, and welcome to a very special episode of the 7-Day Boogie. It is I, your old pal, the 7-Day Berg Gummer man. Yes, that's right. Today we are celebrating Burt Gummer Day. This is a real holiday introduced by the 7th Tremors movie, and it's when this episode comes out. It was my destiny to watch all 7 Tremors movies. It was my destiny for my last episode covering the Tremors movies to come out on Burt Gummer Day. So this is my rendition of what Burt might look like should he ever adventure into the land of Boog and handle some graboids for the old boogeyman himself. We're going to jump right into it. I am the world's first Tremors completionist. I believe I am prove me wrong in the comments. Have you seen all 7 Tremors movies? If you're following and watching along with the podcast, then at this point, yes, congratulations, but I was the first one. I'm the first Tremors completionist to watch all 7 movies. We're going to be talking about the 7th movie today, ranking it among the Tremors universe of movies, and then at the end we're going to have a special segment where I explain how I would go back and fix the Tremors franchise were I given the opportunity to. Really, this is my elevator pitch for whoever's in charge. I think it's Universal 1440. Give me the Tremors ropes. Let me grab hold of the writing pen and take over the Tremors series from here. Because I might be the utmost. I'm the Burt Gummer of Burt Gummer at this point. I'm the only one that knows the ins and outs. And I'm ready to take over. 7 movies, 6 trials leading to my 7th Herculean effort, Boogulayan effort for this week's episode. And the 7th movie was actually pretty fun to watch. I don't know if it was like the end of the series, so there was like a catharsis, a wrapping up feeling of this trial that I have put myself through coming to an end, or if it was just kind of a fun. At this point, I'm like, fuck it. We're having fun. Whatever we're in, but we're so far deep into bonus round territory that any plus got magnified against the last couple movies that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Because 5 and 6 were tough watches. So 7 didn't have to work very hard for me to enjoy it. And I enjoyed it. 7 opens with a pretty nonsensical, pointless, but fun guy doing parkour through the jungle, running away from what I'm assuming is a graboid of some sort, or a shrieker, given that this movie is called Tremors 7 Shrieker Island. But that leads us into the main plot of the movie. In it, we Jurassic Parked it again. Kind of a twisted Jurassic Park. Wild billionaire, tech billionaire somehow gets his hands on graboid DNA, buys a private island, clones a bunch of graboids for a bunch of his other dickhead tech millionaire buddies to hunt. There's your movie. But they are also, of course, one like short waterway jump away from an important research facility. And those are the folks that call in Burt Gummer. So that's a pretty good premise for a movie, right? Like evil tech billionaire hunting dickhead and a bunch of his other, again, like just millionaire dipshits are all lined up to be eaten. And then we've got our friendly scientists that give the exposition and just kind of have a fix for whatever they need graboid-wise, even though they act like they've never heard of them. a big addition, huge news for Tremors 7. If you remember, which if you haven't listened to my last episode, go back and check it out. In that episode, I mentioned that I felt that Jamie Kennedy should be entombed in a prison for what he has done to the Tremors franchise. And what do I find out 5 minutes into Tremors 7? His character is in prison. We did it. We willed it into existence. I wanted him to go to jail, and the writers felt my heart beating for that cause, and they made it happen. In my head, Jamie Kennedy was in Tremor 7 until I made that wish. And then as I hesitatingly, reluctantly placed the disc into my DVD player for Tremors 7 to watch it, something magical happened. And he was in the story sent to jail. And who do they call in as the new sidekick for the final installment? None other than Napoleon Graboid Dynamite himself, John Heder. And that's just so wild. That is such a jarring casting choice for this movie. But that's the setup, right? Private island, hunting expedition gone wrong. Graboids are threatening, breaking loose, morphing into shriekers, and then we all know what happens, gobbling up a bunch of food, and then further morphing into ass blasters, potentially reaching the mainland and spreading like some sort of graboid super virus across the world. They bring Burt in for one more job. And what a final job it was. Major spoilers coming up for Tremor 7. We're going to talk at length about what I liked and didn't like. We're going to stack it into the Tremors power ranking. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what I would have done differently with the Tremors series. So, what did I like about Tremors 7? It looks pretty cool. Visually, it's like in a cool location. They didn't try to bamboozle me into thinking they're on snow and put a blue filter on it to lie to my face and my heart and my brain. I enjoyed we got to pull Burt out of retirement. I mean, it's tale as old as time, but Burt just thinks he can get away, and then they pull him back in. That aspect was funny. I liked that they answered my wishes, which is just every Tremors movie needs to have 8 to 10 this guy is gonna definitely get killed type of characters. What's that guy? They call one guy like Wall Street Brad at one point, because it's like a group of tech billionaires that are all on this like trophy hunting excursion that the bad guy sets up. I wish that they had more tech billionaire nicknames like NFT Jimmy or like PPP loan Jonathan. So all those tech guys throughout the movie just basically line themselves up one by one to get eaten by the Shriekers. They didn't do much with the Shrieker design in this one. They are completely CGI, but it's a pretty straight up, very similar to Tremors 2 Shrieker, which I enjoyed. And I think that the Graboid design in this movie was pretty cool too. They did a good thing. See, the premise of this movie is tight. Spoiler alert for how I'm going to fix the series. This should have been the third movie, in my opinion. But more on that later. So the scientists like did some gene splicing or some, insert science reason. The Graboids are now stronger, right? So the similar like we got to track them around the island. We're hunting, trying to get rid of all these Graboids before they can get back and spread to the rest of the world. There's a Gigantor Megalodon Graboid in this that they track around the island because it eats one of their elephants, and then they just basically track the gigantic Graboid from the elephant tracking device because the elephant was swallowed. And again, that's basically like the whole movie, right? Is like we follow the like bad tech millionaire guy hunting party, and then we've got the researchers on the other island that like every time someone's like there's a part where basically Burt gets on the island after they bring him back into the fold, and he's like, well, we have no weapons. And they're like, well, there's the old World War II bunker that might still have some weapons in it. And then they go in there, and there's just a bunch of flamethrowers and dynamite, and now they have all the weapons that they need. So they do a lot of that in the writing that's like, oh, we need this thing. And then one of the scientists will be like, well, I actually grew up and my parents were dynamite, so I know where all the dynamite is on the island, just naturally. And that's just like lazy monster movie, just like we need to progress the storyline. There's not a lot of fluff dialogue in this. I'm guessing that's because Jamie Kennedy is not in this movie. So everyone was probably following a script, and so most of the words that are said move the story forward, which is a funny change for the Tremors movies based on the last couple, right? So most of the dialogue again is just like to get to the main missions of the movie. And the main missions of the movie are destroy big giant graboid. That's the only one left. And then to get rid of all the Shriekers, because the other graboids on Shrieker Island have all split up, and now there's like a cave full of Shriekers. John Hader's character is like a scientist, they don't really say. He has a team of people that are working on the island with the animals, so I'm assuming he's some kind of animal team scientist. So he is alongside Burt basically the whole time as the annoying sidekick. He and Burt go out on what I think is the coolest mission in the movie, potentially one of the coolest scenes in the Tremors franchise. They go on a special mission while the other team, the science exposition team, is setting up for like the grand finale fight against the mega graboid. Burt and Napoleon Sticks of Dynamite go to Shrieker Island to finish off the rest of the Shriekers. And that scene is badass. They are just in the cave. They make a couple weird Predator references, and then they put mud on themselves so that the Shriekers can't see them. And then they're just setting Shriekers on fire. I'm guessing a lot of like the action CGI budget went into this scene, because there's like sick slow motion Burt Gummer flamethrower scenes in this part of the movie. They blow up the whole Shrieker Island. Like they go on like this little espionage side mission, and it's like totally sick. It's a really cool part of the movie. They get back to the main island, and they know at this point that the big graboid is like waiting for Burt. In a similar way, when he was like, he had the like virus thing in his head, and he was getting tracked by the graboids that way. This big gigantic graboid somehow knows Burt is Burt and really is only after him, right? Is just like, that's a trophy for the graboids, is to come back with Burt's hat and be like, guess who I ate? The guy that's been blowing up our cousins on several continents this entire time. So he gets back to the main island. There's like this kind of funny storyline where Jamie Kennedy's mom is the scientist at the island where Burt comes to. So like there's this kind of weird like, are we gonna get back together? Can we fix our relationship despite Jamie Kennedy being our son type of situation? And Burt basically shits on all of that the entire movie. He's like, no, I don't want to talk to you about it. Napoleon Sticks of Dynamite tries to be tough and be like, whether you like it or not, I'm coming with you for this last scene. And then Burt's like, go fuck yourself. No, you're not. And then Napoleon Sticks of Dynamite is like, well, okay, I guess I'm not. And then he and the ruined love interest run off to help with the final scene. Burt then, because they've kind of rigged the entire island as one big trap for the giant graboid, with all these like dynamite traps, similar to the way they kill the big graboid in the first movie, where they trick it into careening off of a cliff. They're going to do the same thing in this movie to the gigantic graboid. So it is going to basically follow Burt along this trail that's like rigged with dynamite to scare it up this mountain. and then it will careen off of a cliff with a lot of explosives, and there's like pointy sticks in the pit. It'll get stabbed a bunch, and then it exploded. Hurrah, we all win. While this is happening, Burt is just doing like a badass, this is the end of the series walk. Like the whole movie is basically building up to this final scene between Burt and the biggest graboid of all time. And what happens at the end is monumental. So like Burt is running up the mountain for this final trap scene. Napoleon Sticks of Dynamite is also running up and is basically like, I'm actually a part of this plan now. And Burt, in one final act, sacrifices himself to be eaten by the giant graboid, saving this guy that he barely knows and talks to during this movie, and taking care of the graboid situation once and for all. While that's happening, Burt is like diving to save him and be eaten by the graboid, this like big monumental moment. And Burt is flying through the air in slow motion, giving us the finger. And basically I took that as like, you've watched all 7 movies, go fuck yourself, is how I took that as Burt's final moment. Because also in my head, he didn't have to do that. They already had the trap set. The graboid was going off the cliff either way, but he was like, we can't do this anymore. So fuck you, I'm done. And Burt dives into the graboid. The graboid goes off the cliff. They fucking explode it. And everyone's happy. And then they're like, but wait, Burt was in there. And then there's like a sad, like Burt's grave on the edge of a cliff scene. Movie's over. After Burt sacrifices himself, Napoleon Sticks of Dynamite is looking for him, but he's not yelling Burt. He's yelling, Mr. Gummer! Mr. Gummer! So I like to think that even in death, he doesn't feel like he and Burt were close enough to be on a first name basis with him, even though they both killed so many Shriekers together. They had all these adventures in the last couple days on this island. He's still just like, sir, Mr. Gummer. So like I said, the 7th movie kind of does put a nice little bow on the series. There's definitely not going to be any more Tremors stuff unless Universal knows what's good for him and gives me the pen finally. Overall, like the soundtrack, not very memorable if we're looking at scoring criteria. CGI was pretty good. They do this weird thing in the last couple movies where I think they like get the layering wrong, where there'll be CGI and something happens to the person, like they're getting flown back because of the monster, but whatever the like CGI ends up being, like doesn't line up very well with the reaction that the person gives. Like it looks like a Shrieker jumps on somebody, but the entire Shrieker is kind of behind them. So when they like fall and get jumped into the bush or like pulled into the bush, it just doesn't really line up very well. That's like super nitpicky for the 7th Tremors movie. But like they obviously had the budget to do some good stuff. They had some like big scenes. They had some big set pieces. They were on an island, like pretty remote looking, extravagant, exotic shooting location. So I think they probably could have taken some of that money and given the VFX artists a couple extra weeks just to kind of clean some of that stuff up. But storyline of like gene splicing graboids and making them gigantic and having that like greedy, evil tech million, like that's a cool storyline. And that's how we're going to fix the series. We're just going to do some jumbling around. But Tremors 7 is going to be in 4th place for me. No? Yes. Tremors 7 is in 4th place for me in the Tremors Power Ranking. We're going 1, 4, 2, 7, 3, 5, and 6, all trash. All of them bad. Erase those from the history books, as far as I'm concerned. So if you watched all of the Tremors movies along with me, thank you. And I hope you're doing well. Next, we're going to move on to what I would have done with the series and how I will repair the Tremors franchise. Just need to pull up my notes here. How to save the Tremors series. There's two areas of thought that I had. Complete revamp, as in accepting that all of the movies that have already happened exist and just starting a new storyline. But here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to pretend I have a time machine, and I'm going to go back in time, rework the entire series, thus creating a juggernaut that it deserves to be. Here's what we're doing. You could probably already guess by my rankings the victims of my revamp. Tremors 3, 5, and 6, you're done. I'm sorry. Gotta go. Can't let you exist if I've got a time machine specific to the Tremors series. It's a Tremors time machine only. Tremors 7 is now Tremors 3. Congratulations. After Tremors 2, right? Remember the plot of Tremors 2 is the millionaire in Mexico is having trouble with this like oil field of his being put in danger by the graboids. We're going to merge the tech billionaire hunting storyline with whoever owns that oil field, right? So after they blow up all the Shriekers, maybe the oil billionaire that owns that oil field finds one. He's a big trophy hunter, so he gets, blah, 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 science, but like finds like a Shrieker tongue, clones it, creates the graboids, buys a private island. Tremors 3 is now Shrieker Island, right? And the big danger, the big reveal on Shrieker Island is that they can now fly, right? Because they're just expecting they're like, you cloned graboids and you have graboids and Shriekers on this Jurassic Park style island for your tech millionaire friends to come and fight. That sucks. And then like while they're fighting them, there's a couple ass blasters that show up. But that's like the big introduction of the new flying graboid, or like an ambush style graboid because of the jungle environment. That would be Tremors 3. Tremors 4, congratulations, you're still Tremors 4. You get to be the final movie in the series, which is the origin story when they first discover graboids. The mine shaft, same thing, or like drilling for gold, drilling for oil in the West. Graboids come out, blow them up with dynamite, all that stuff, and then that's when they don't get to fully gestate into the Tremors 2 and 3 life cycle. So Tremors 1, Tremors 2 stay the same. Tremors 3 is now the plot of Tremors 7, and they introduce but eliminate the ass blasters at the end of Tremors 3. That's the end of the current day storyline. Huge box office hit. The Shrieker cave scene, are you kidding me? That's badass. Giant graboid that's like gene spliced or on TRT and can produce more Shriekers. That could also be why the ass blasters are generated, right? It's like a supercharged evolutionary chain because of what the like oil baron scientists did. I'm cooking right now. The Tremors series could have been saved and still could be. And then Tremors 4 is just a fun Wild West romp where you find out the origins of the Perfection Valley Tremors, graboids. So hit me up, Sci-Fi Channel, Universal 1440. Get me in the studio. We can make some magic happen with this Tremors retcon. So that is going to do it for this very special Tremors-focused episode of the 7-Day Boogie podcast. I want you to have a fantastic Burt Gummer day. I know I'm going to. I'm going to kick back and not watch any more Tremors movies. If you like the podcast, leave a like or a comment, subscribe, share it with friends and loved ones. Either way, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for coming and listening to the 7 Day Boogie. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I love ya. Mwah.